So what I'm going to do is I want to just go ahead and Gloria's much better. Thanks, Gloria. I appreciate that. And so let's go ahead and zoom in just a little bit there. And we're just going to work on, let's change the ISO. You guys learning about live streaming today and the technical aspects of it. Okay. If things don't go wrong, guys, how are we going to learn, right? So, things have to go wrong for us to learn. I've seen too many live streams implode when things go wrong. They just don't know how to fix it, and they just make it worse and worse. So, I'm glad that we're able to, take care of this. Yes, no coronavirus is a good thing, guys. That's for sure. You ain't kidding. All that stuff in the news, huh? Crazy times we live in, guys. So with the light mixture, what I want to do is just really get in there and start working on her eyebrows. There we go. Now you'll see her eyebrows have a lot of little shapes and just little darks. Now, what's important is not just the shapes, but the spaces as well. No, this is a sterile live stream, Wendy. We're good. Now, once I just get this area that's just above the crease of her eyelid and in the eye socket, I'm going to go ahead and start to erase. I'm still with the light mixture, so I have to come back in with the dark mixture, of course. Now what I'm seeing here is that right over here it's a little bit lighter, meaning that this part of the eye socket area seems to be getting more light. And when it gets more light, we have to make sure that we show that, because that's really what's going to give us the structure and make her look three-dimensional, especially from far away. Now with this these ink mixtures, which the link is in the description field, and you can purchase them anytime. And so basically, you can just erase them ever so subtle. And just like that. Just get that subtlety. And the 1 second rule is always important. So you guys know my whole theory and how important that 1 second rule is. You never want to work on something you're not really paying attention to. That is of the utmost importance. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my medium mixture and I'm just going to dip the liner brush in there. Now what's important when you do I use what is called a dry brush technique. And what you do is you go ahead and you get rid of excess moisture before you apply it. So see, I have a little post-it note. So I'm just getting rid of any excess moisture. It's still wet, but not as wet as I just dipped it in the medium mixture. So, okay, so going back to here, we really want to pay attention to what's happening. Not what we think we see, but what we see. It is so important. I really can't stress that enough. You don't want to be exact. You want to be as exact as possible, but you don't want to, get to the point where you're tentative. You want to still get you still want to get an impression, right? You still you want it to look like a painting. You don't want it to look like, you know, an exact replica photo. At least I don't. Some do, and that's cool, that's all good, but that's not my aim at all. So as you can see, just making sure that the spaces are established, because the spaces are very important. You know, you can get if you get the spaces too close, then you're going to get one large dark mass. So you want to create that feeling of several different hairs. Some hairs catching the light, some hairs not catching the light, that sort of thing. Let's see if I can lower that just a tad. There we go. And so important to stick with it, right? You want to stick with it. You don't want to get lost. You don't want to give up. You want to be tenacious. Tenacity, which is really important in this technique. But the payoffs are really nice. Not nice, beautiful. Beautiful payoffs if you stick with the whole procedure, right? It's just of the utmost importance to stick with the procedure. Okay, so what you do on this eye, you're going to have to do on the other eye, right? So that's another of my Timisms. Make sure that you take care of one eye right after you take care of the other. No way around it. Okay, so now we have to, let me see if I get that in a nice spot. The spaces are just as important as putting in the lines. I can't see your comments right now, so if you ask a question, I'll get back to you. Because right now, let's see. Okay. So when I say stick with it, meaning continue being very diligent at what you're looking at, and know that, you know, the more that you are paying attention, the more that you are being diligent, the better it is for you. So after the beginning technical issues, everything's fine, guys, as far as sound, everything like that. Wendy just says, are you painting with the medium or light mixture? This is with the paintbrush here. I'm going with the medium mixture because those darks are really nice and dark in the eyebrows there. There we go. Let me just see if I can focus this a little better for you guys. There, that's pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead, rinse this off, and put this back. And now let's see if we could go ahead with the mono eraser first. Let's see how the mono eraser, the round, does first, the mono 0. And then if that doesn't work, we have other options. So we're going to go back to the first eyebrow as we started. And we have here the chisel, which is really nice. Let's see if I could. There we go. You want to look at the relationships of the lights. And you want to keep things organic. It's so important to keep things organic, not to, you know, our tendency is always to make things you know, mathematic patterns and whatnot. So it's your job to keep things organic. Now we can also come in with the white pastel. So let's see you in this scene. So we have a white pastel here, and we have our pastel pencil. This is Faber-Castell Pitt Pastel White. So that is also in the description field. So go ahead and purchase them. They're affiliate links. I get a little teeny tiny, we're talking little baby commission out of that. But every little bit helps, guys, and I appreciate it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a paper stump. And what I'm going to do is I am going to try and find some of those areas that are just getting a little bit more light, and also where her forehead is showing through, meaning the, you know, they're not totally full, these eyebrows. Hey John, how's it going? Good to see you. Wendy says, Tim, do you like the pebble gray or the light gray better? The light gray is really my favorite, and I really, really love it. Willie says, Tim, what is the best place to get the paper from? I'm running out of my old stuff. I find Dick Blick is probably the best. Do you guys concur with that? You know? It's a little bit pricier, but I think it's because they really pack it well, so that makes a real big difference. And now what I'm going to do is, with the light mixture, I'm just going to bring home some of these little darks here. And then we can come back with our mono round. And we can just get some of the particulars. Same thing here. Looks like this shape comes in. Just like that, and then we can get with the white pastel, and make sure you're paying attention to, you know, what's happening. So now we're going to move on over to the other eyebrow. Remember, what we do on one side we have to do on the other side. And so I'm going to come straight in with the airbrush here and the light mixture. This is actually pebble gray, yes, definitely. And the pebble gray is definitely the best. Now I'm going to double check on that. I'm pretty sure, but let me double check on that, Wendy. Because I know this pebble gray doesn't look like pebble gray. It looks like a light gray. And always stick with it. Don't give up. Be tenacious. A lot of going in and going out, that sort of thing. And then last but not least, you can come in with your Fons and Porter, and you can get the real. But make sure it's, whatever you put in, make sure it's there, guys. That's so important. So now we're just going to zoom out, and you'll see we have some pretty good eyebrows here. Now they're a little strong, so what I would do is I would just take that light mixture And I could just dust over that just a little bit, just to calm down those eyebrows a little bit from the white. And then if that's not good enough, then you can take your kneaded eraser and you can calm them down just by tapping ever so lightly. And then you could definitely bring it together, you know. Remember, the more you tap, the more the white goes away. So you can keep as much white as you like. And that's good. That's really good. Yeah, oh, light gray. Let's double check. It's always the best way here. Nope, I am using, I am definitely using the pebble, I am definitely using the pebble gray, without a doubt. Yeah. So pebble gray is definitely the way to go. The light gray is good as well, but I like the pebble gray because it has a little more of a dark quality than the light gray. So the it seems like when you do that, the white pastel shows off a little bit more. Okay, so you can see we are getting the texture of her eyebrows. So we're pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with it. So now let's see what else we can do. The first thing I would like to do is probably deepen some of these darks here. Like right here, it looks like we definitely can deepen the darks of her eye socket right underneath her eyebrow, above the crease of her eyelid there. So it's very important to get that, how do you say, you know, get the structure of the anatomy, because that's what's going to stand out from far away. Also, we want to work on the big shapes and then the little particulars at this time. So, you know, you want to move around. You want to definitely, how do you say, move around and get a lot of the sort of rough edges, so to speak, figurative, not literally, but figuratively. Anything that you see that could use fixing at this stage, that should be your goal, is to fix that. You know, make it just a better painting, you know? And yeah, so you definitely use the you use the light gray, and I use the pebble gray, which seems to be on the lighter side, the paper itself. But yes, my painting that I did as a demo for your project, Brad, did come out lighter. I'm definitely going to post that on Ink Flingers pretty soon, probably tomorrow. So you guys can see that class demo. Okay, now, so I'm asking myself, where is the painting maybe lacking just a little bit? And that is a question that you ask at this later stage. You know, what can you do to make this a better painting? What do you see that doesn't work? Or perhaps the painting would be better if it's not there. That's why we're not Xerox machines, right? We can decide, I don't want that. it doesn't look right, or I don't like it's not saying what I want it to say. And you can go ahead and change that. That's the beauty of being an artist. You know, yes, you use reality, but you can change reality in any way possible that you feel is better for the painting as a whole. I've never used the light gray. I know it's lighter, but I don't have any of the light gray. I haven't been given any of that yet from Canson. Let me make sure. Okay, we're nice and focused. Now what we can do is just move around. And those who have taken classes with me know at the end stages we're moving around a lot. We are definitely assessing everything. And one of the things I am assessing here is the texture of her lips here. Can I make that better? And that's my goal throughout this whole part 7, is just making the painting better. You know, it's one thing to start a painting, it's one thing to, you know, work on the middle part, but knowing how to finish a painting, that is crucial. That's everything. It really is. Now, let's go ahead and darken this part. Let's see if we can blow that up just a little bit here so we can see exactly what I'm doing. Now I'm using the Extreme Patriot Arrow. I have my PSI set at 25 at the compressor. I have the MAC valve here, which I lowered just a little bit. And then I went ahead and adjusted my precision air valve here. And those things will get you to that sweet spot. And how do you get to that sweet spot? Same way you get to Carnegie Hall. Practice. Know your airbrush. Know what it does in different you know, settings for the precision air valve and the MAC valve. Know the distance. How does it act as far as the distance away? All those different things. But how do you do that? By playing with the airbrush. That's the only way. No easy route. That's only going to come with time. Now, someone like me taking my class, you're going to learn how to get there a lot quicker because I'm going to tell you how to practice. If someone's practicing incorrectly, you can practice for 100 hours. It's not going to help you. But if you have someone like me who is teaching you how to practice or what to look for, how to find that sweet spot, then you're going to get there a lot quicker. You'll get there anyway, but you want to get there faster. Now, when you have the lips, what happens is that or even anything that's rounded, you're going to have things go straight up and down in the center, and then on the right side, they're going to turn to, on the left side, they're going to turn to the right towards the center, and then vice versa. If you don't have that, where everything is turning towards the center, it's not going to look right. So that's just like a principle. I want you to really pay attention to what you're looking at and then see it for yourself. Don't just, adhere to the dogma, but know that everything goes towards the center. Same thing with the irises and stuff like that. Everything goes towards the center. So we're going to take our mono eraser here. There we go. Now this is the fun part because it's the end of the painting, you're making things you make things look really nice at this stage. You have that privilege because you work so hard during the whole painting process. Okay, now this little Cupid's bow here, just going to bring that down just a little bit. And the darks just spill out a little bit here and on the other side of this highlight. And notice that the lips sort of bleed in to the upper part of her mouth there, just below the nose. They sort of just bleeds in, which is nice. And Brad says, let me see. Brad says, why wait if you don't have to? That's true, yes. And Brad says, Willie says, Brad, is your piece finished? And finished it on Monday. That's true, yes. Really came out great, really fantastic. Bradley did a great job. So definitely, he's on Facebook and he's showing that, and it's also on my page, which is really cool. So definitely if you haven't seen his painting, really check it out. Just really shows how much the ink mixtures and the technique really works when the student works, right? And Bradley really busted his butt. I put him through the ringer. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull out and see where we are. So that's not bad. I'm happy with it. Now here it's a little hard edge, so I'm just going with the white mixture, and I'm just going to increase my distance as I go. Now if I increase my distance, it's going to get lighter. If I decrease my distance, it's going to get darker. So that's something you always want to paint in 3 dimensions. It's so important. Thank you, Bradley. I appreciate that. So I do have openings for classes right now. If anyone is interested, it's definitely something that you will learn a lot, and just the price alone is just phenomenal. But I initially wanted to be Brad says I'm ruthless. The reason why I initially wanted to do it, because I remember when I was coming up in the airbrush world about 7 to 10 years ago, and I couldn't afford many of the classes because they were very, they were worth it, don't get me wrong, but you know, I couldn't afford it, and this is a way for me to teach you guys where, you know, it's very affordable. So definitely, if you get a chance, take advantage of it while I still am able to do it at that price, because I can't do it at that price for very long. Okay, so we're going to just zoom out just a little bit. Where can we work? You know, where can we go ahead and make this a better painting? And those are things that you want to always be asking yourself. Always, always, always. Now, one of the things you want to do is you want to save your table. So it doesn't take much to just put a piece of paper right underneath. So this way your table's not getting totally destroyed, which it will eventually, but let's slow down the process, right? That's what we have to do. So has anyone out there done any kind of vegetable juicing? I'm back on the ball with vegetable juicing for the last 7 days. I've been juicing kale and spinach and celery and ginger, and of course it really does wonders just for my skin and just overall well-being. Have any of you guys have done that? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Oh yes, because you have that really real beautiful one, but it has that real small opening, Wendy. Yes, Gloria does. Gloria's juicing, which is wonderful, and Gloria got a great deal on a juicer. Ray, I think you paid around $100, and it works wonderful. So you don't always have to have the expensive ones. Sometimes you find a good brand and it works. Yeah, I do that too, you know. The fruits is definitely, you know, what we have to watch out for, because we want it to taste amazing, right? We don't want to drink kale, ugh, you know. Tonight I drank a lot of kale, Gloria, and it was kind of nasty, even though the pears were there, but it was too much kale. Oh yes, Wendy got the one over $4,000. That's the famous one. Something Star, correct? Nutri-Star or something like that. Yeah, Gloria goes, oh no. Willie says the only green thing that I eat is green M&Ms. And I think they have medicinal purposes, Willie, so I think you're okay. At least that's the story we'll stick to. Now what I can do, if you see here, there is just this lighter area, and we can go ahead and take care of that. Oh, Wendy, Gloria likes any color of the M&Ms. M&Ms are pretty cool. I remember the whole advertising campaign was melt in your mouth, not in your hands. I mean, honestly, who's eating chocolate, you know, in the sun in August? You know, it's like... Oh, Tone says kale, spinach, bananas, and apples. So it sounds like you're doing smoothies, which are excellent. Yeah, I'm starting to do more smoothies, Tone. Just to put them in my diet, like after I lift weights, I'll go ahead and do a smoothie for recovery. Oh, the Norwalk, Wendy, that's great. Brad says he likes his juice in the form of juice hot chocolate. Yes, the M&Ms with the peanuts are good, definitely. Yeah, no. Add honey to sweeten, yes. Now, I have actually something I found at the Korean market. You might find this interesting. Freeze dried honey, and it comes in powdered form. Like you can use it with teaspoons. You might want to try that one day, Tone. I think you would find that interesting if you haven't already. You're in the city, so I'm sure you already encountered that. Willie says that the M&Ms never stay in his hands too long. That's funny. And when Willie said that, and Wendy says in Texas even M&Ms melt in your hands. Oh my God, that is hot. So we definitely want to make sure that we get those edges here. See that? We have those nice edges. There's several things we can do. The first thing, I just want to continue getting that sort of lighter edge color along the hairline as it goes up towards her forehead there. We're getting kind of a weird parallax here, so let me go ahead and fix that. Let's see. I think that would work. And I think that kind of fixes the parallax. It's looking a little bit better, which is good. That's what I wanted. And let's go ahead and get more of make this bigger. And I'll show you how to do that in the program. So you come here, and then I can go to layout, and I could see if I could get rid of some of this side here. And then I can go ahead and get rid of this side. Actually, I can probably get more rid of this side and then the other side. This way we can see part of, yes. So now I'm just gonna make this side a little bit bigger. Don't worry guys, the hard work's gonna pay off. So now I'm gonna come over here and voila. See, I made it bigger, see? So the technical difficulties had some payoff. So we're able to just get a little bigger picture here. Brad says you don't have to freeze dry honey. It'll keep forever in its natural state. That's true, right? I heard that honey can stay, you know, just unbelievable. It's like from like the ancient Egyptian times that it actually is still good. Now that's crazy, right? That's unbelievable. And so now we can go ahead and get this like light right here because it's sort of like the orbital ridge and it's catching a little more light. So we can go ahead and just show that right now. And we could, you know, always, if you see something, go ahead and change it, right? You know, that's always good to do. Now, if that's too heavy with the white pastel and the beauty, mummy honey, that's not easy to say. That's pretty funny. And so you see with the white pastel, you can just tap and pull that up. Isn't that great? That's one of the great things about it. Same thing here. One of the things I told Bradley at the end of his painting is when you look at it and something stands out, it usually has to go, unless it's the eyes, the highlights, that sort of thing, it definitely has to go. So that's something that you always want to look into. There's no way anyone could say that more than twice. I think it sort of brings Beetlejuice or something. You got to be careful. You don't want to be summoning mummies. How about saying that? Summon mummies. Summoning mummies. You can't say that more than 3 times. You know, it actually sounds like a good idea. You know, mummy honey. It sounds like a great product. We should all go on Shark Tank, right? Eat honey out of tombs. I think ooh, that would be nasty. I don't know how that's going to be good. We just want to work on the eyes because those are the stars of the show. Now we were working on the hair, remember? Now, what we'll do is we want to work on the adjacent values. And that's going to help us decide whether it's too light or too dark. So this weekend, I'm going to go ahead and do an impromptu live stream and pick who won the free set of the ink mixtures. This week is always I don't know, lately time has been getting by me, you know, and you know, I have a lot of different projects going, so I really apologize for that, guys. But we're definitely going to announce that winner, and that's going to be fun. And I'll send an email to you guys. Guys and girls. What's great is you're continuing moving from the white pastel to the airbrush to the eraser to the paintbrush at the late stage. This is when you're bringing it all together. And still working on that hair. And like I always say, what you see doesn't belong, get rid of it. It's got to go. You'll see pencil lines, even at this late stage, that just has to go. What do you do? What do you need to do for inks? Oh, just go ahead and just comment on this video or any prior video saying you want to, you know, be in the running for the free set of India inks. Airbrush India inks, that is. And, you know, that's these, the medium, light, and the dark. Little powerful in the light right there. Thanks for asking, Wendy. I appreciate that. But I always do the drawing out of the hat with all the names so everyone knows that I'm being as fair as fair. You know, not fair as possible, just total fair. Total fair. So we're at 10:22, which is not bad. We are definitely going to finish this painting of Catalina. Now, Michael David Adams is the wonderful photographer who allowed me to go ahead and paint this for the live stream. And he said he wanted to see how it came out. And so I'm looking forward to showing this to him. And maybe Katarina will see it as well. Wouldn't that be cool? Just getting a little more detail here with her beautiful lips. I love painting lips when it comes to doing portraits of women. One of my favorite things. And as I get better and better, they become more and more fun. I can see how intricate they are. Things. That might be from maybe your Facebook or something like that. That could be it. Wendy says you make the most perfect lips, Tim. Thank you. I appreciate that, Wendy. I'm getting there. You know, when I was initially trained, I was trained to only do, you know, the simplification like you would see in a John Singer Sargent or Rembrandt painting. But about 7 to 10 years ago, when I first seen guys like Drew Blair and how they were putting those details in the lips, I just thought that was so beautiful. So I do a combination of the two now, how I was trained at the academy and then art studios of some of the great artists of our time, and now the modern painters such as Drew Blair. So that's what you want to do when you are painting. You want to, over time, take a little bit from this artist, take a little bit from that artist, and sort of make your own recipe, right? That's what you want to do. You don't want to be totally, you know, following one painter to the point that your work looks exactly like them. You want to eventually, it's okay in the beginning, but eventually you want to go your own route. So important. Now you see the eyebrows looking a little hairy with the stray here. So what I can do is just dust over them with the white pastel, and it just sort of calms them down, makes her look as she is, more feminine. There we go. Now still I can say to myself, you know, some of those lights are a little ardent, a little strong, and let's just tap them down, right? You know why? Because we can. And you see how just tapping them down just brings them into congruence with everything else around her. And you can tap as much as you want. You can make them as dark as you want by tapping. And let's see, Michael might be a bit jealous once he finds out you made her look better than the photograph. I appreciate that, Brad. And Willie says, Brad, we must be long lost brothers. I was going to say the same. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate it. And Wendy, thank you guys. And that's always nice to hear. Always, always great to hear. So you see I'm working there, and I see something in the eyebrows, and I just want to bring that together. And you'll find you'll have your strong suits, you know, you might do lips really well, might have a hard time with ears. So those are things you want to work at. Every artist has their you know, what they can do easily and what they struggle with. I don't care who they are. And that's what happens, you know, we just continue working until the struggles become less, and we get better at our weaknesses. But so the Airbrush is the Extreme Patriot Arrow, and everyone knows how much I recommend this airbrush. Why? Because it does everything that a custom micron can do, which could cost you over $600. And but how beautiful that you have the ability to do that with just $89. It's $99. The link is in the description. And if you use the code timothypsa, you get it at $89. And I get a 10% commission on that, and that helps out the channel. So, you know, those of you who have purchased through that link, thank you so much. And I know you're going to love the airbrush. Those of you who are thinking about getting that airbrush, definitely use that link. You save money and you help the channel, so we can continue doing these really wonderful live streams together, hang out, talk about art. You know, it's the people that are more important than the art, right? I mean, look how cool it is to hang out with Brett and Willie and Gloria and Wendy, of course, and you know, it's just so fantastic. Wendy says the model will be flat. I hope so. You know, you always hope, right, guys? Tone says, is it solvent proof? Yes, I believe it is. You know, so it is. I mean, you could use it for anything, but that's something that. Well, what we're gonna do is, we were talking to Ken. Ken was here last week, and he said that he wants to come back and just be a total technical Q&A of the airbrushes and the equipment and everything. So that's exciting. So Ken's coming back. He had a lot of fun with you guys, he wanted me to tell you. So that was such a treat last week, wasn't it? And so yeah, this definitely is solvent proof, but we'll double check on all the specifics. Willie says, Tim, your lips look better than the models. Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate that. Little by little, we'll get there, right? And so, yeah, so Ken's coming back, and like I said, he messaged me the morning after and just said that he had a lot of fun, and he really wants to really go over a lot of the technical questions. Why using the airbrush and everything, and you know, the specifics, like, you know, what makes one airbrush do this and one airbrush do that. Gloria says, Wendy, what happened to our chocolate cake? That's true. What happened to it? That's the question. I'm not getting too crazy in individual hairs. What I am getting crazy in is how to get those adjacent values of where the hair is and going into the forehead and those shapes. So you see how I'm doing that. Little by little, sticking with it, and just not getting too concerned with the trees. I'm still worried about the forests, and that's so important. With the control that you have with the Extreme Patriot Arrow, it's almost like you don't need to use the paintbrush sometimes. That you would with another airbrush. You wouldn't be able to get these sort of really super fine hairlines. So you see, little by little we're getting there, and that's our motto. Now with the light mixture, you can really get in there and create those really super fine hairs. Now we have the white pastel where we can calm those hairs down. Patty cake. Crab cakes. Oh man, I like crab cakes. That's good stuff. I like making sandwiches out of them with a good Kaiser roll. That's not bad. Gloria says she's not an artist, but she eats sweets. Gloria is an artist. Gloria is a chef. If you guys had Gloria's cooking, oh my God, I think you would just, you know, you would be definitely asking Gloria to sell you her dishes. Really fantastic stuff. Wendy loves crab cakes. That's cool. So you see, when in the end stages, when I have the, a tool in my hand, I'll move around and I'll try and see where I could use that. And you see, we can make that eye a little more luminous. So here's an interesting thing. Mark, the winner of the Airbrush Step-by-Step magazine, has not claimed his prize. So I'm going to try and send him a message. If he doesn't claim it, then we're going to do another drawing for that. So that's exciting. That's for sure. Oh, make a cake on the video. That I would watch it too, Wendy, definitely. I heard about your icing, so that's amazing. I think that would be great. Same thing here. I am going to just continue to get some of those hairs that are just coming towards the forehead out of the hair mass. This is like a minor detail, but just like having, in a movie, someone who's really good in charge of sound or in charge of, sound effects or lighting. If that's correct, everything else is just going to be better. And that's why these little areas are really important in the end stages, because although they're kind of less significant than everything, in the very end, and only in the very end, is when you really want to concentrate on them. So Wendy says she has chocolate coffee cake that looks like water, then put a nosh, or however you say it, icing. So, oh wow, that sounds amazing. And then, Ken said that I'm going to be able to go ahead and try using the food coloring with that airbrush that they have. So that's pretty exciting. I think it's called Bake Air or something like that, right? He said last week. So I'm looking forward to that. Now right here, it looks like there's some little bits of light which are speckling right over here. And what's happening is you're getting the sense of texture, not because you're painting texture, but the way that the light is bouncing on certain areas above the lip here and on the side of this nostril. Now, just making sure that you have the spaces, right? It's not, if I just went and put light there, it wouldn't work. But the fact that I'm putting in the spaces, that's when it works. So let's say I come in here and I'm putting in the spaces, right? I'm just putting in where the light is sort of, like when you look at a pond and it's a windy day, or a lake and it's a windy day, and you can see the sparkling of the water, the little waves. That's what's happening here. You're getting little waves because it's not a placid lake. The skin has a little bumps and texture, so that's why you're getting this sort of dappling of light. And that's what you want to look for, that dappling of light. Now over here, just as it goes towards the lip, because remember the lips come out a little bit, they jut out, and so there's going to be a little brighter dappling of light right there, right? So let's go ahead, and now you do the 1 second rule, you're going to be able to just pay attention, and it's going to take care of itself. So the 1 second rule is crucial. And so who out there, little bonus question, what's the 1 second rule, guys? And wow, chocolate digital cakes, that's pretty cool. And with values, in the beginning, it's like the beginning of the painting, the middle of the painting, you want to look for the values. But then as you get towards the middle of the painting, uh, the end of the painting, I should say, then you're looking for the values in the values. That's where things get really sophisticated, because it's not just a value, but it's what's going on within that value shape, right? It's no longer just this voided shape. Brad, that's exactly it. Look for a second, paint for a second, and look for a second, paint for 1 second. Willie, perfect, guys. You guys both got it at the same time. So yes, and that's what I want. I want that in your vernacular or whatever. I want that to be part of the self-talk when we're painting. I have it in my self-talk, and if I ever get lax and I stop doing it, that's when I really have to be diligent. So you see, it's not just the values at the end, which you took care of in the beginning and the middle, but also when you are at the end, when you're looking for the values within the values, the information within the values. The women are too focused on food right now. This is very true, Bradley. I think that's what happens, at least once in the live stream, which is good. It's sort of like art and cake, That's a good combination if I ever has seen one. Wendy says it's the way to the man's heart. Cool. So Willie says when he's painting, he hears me in his head. That's what I want, because I'm hearing Harvey Dinnerstein in my head, Erwin Greenberg, God rest his soul, in my head. When I'm painting, I'm hearing them saying, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and resolve that hand. Go ahead and establish that light. So I hear them after like 25, 30 years. I still hear them in my head, guys. So that's what a teacher wants. We want to haunt you forever. That's funny. A good teacher is like a ghost. They haunt you with principles. Three seconds is totally it, when I say 1 to 1, that's usually the least that you want to do. But if if you want to do the 3 seconds, so right here I'm looking at this spot, so I can look for 3 seconds, and then with that 3 seconds, I could really, really just nail it, right? And Casper, too funny. And I'm just... So I've been in the light mixture the whole time here, guys. I may come in with the dark mixture at the very end, but that's to be seen. Hey, what's up, Bradley? Good to see you, my friend. So at this stage, it's not just good enough to go ahead and hit that value. We want to go ahead and really feel the adjacent values. and the interplay of how they interlock, like tectonic plates or something like that. Like hands going like this, right? Remember, values are not like this, right? They're more like this. They interlock, intermingle. So that's what you want to really find. You want to find that intermingling. You want to look for it in the beginning, in the middle, yes, but you really want to bring it home at the end. Because this is it. After this is the painting is done, you sign it, it's over. You know? Yes, jailed values. That's cool. And that's a good way, see, things like that, you know, like saying things like jailed values, that's a good way to remember. You know, like how are they, you know, stuck together? Remember, if you don't get those edges correctly of how one value is next to another, it's not going to look good. It's going to, all that hard work is going to be for naught. So you could get the values correct, but if the way that those values actually buttress up against one another, if that's incorrect, it's all for nothing. So you definitely want to pay attention. That's where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. Guys, I am going to get a quick cup of coffee. You talk amongst yourselves. Last week was 2 minutes, right? So let's see if I can beat that. I have everything set up. So when we come back, let's see if I can zoom out. Okay. So, you know, the live stream looks pretty good compared to other weeks, right? Even though we had a rough time. So I will be right back. All right, so I hope there wasn't pandemonium that I left, that everything's still okay, that the room is not on fire. Oh, guess what? So this portion, the coffee portion of our video, is brought to you by Green Mountain Coffee. This is the single original Columbia Select medium roast coffee. So this is with Keurig, and you can see that is the coffee. And look how quick you can make coffee with both the Keurig and the Green Mountain coffee. Isn't that cool? So that's pretty neat. 2 minutes. And so when you want to go ahead and have a cup of coffee and you're doing a live stream, you can go ahead and say, guys, wait, and make coffee and come back in 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And the creamer is Aldi's creamer. So I'm a big hazelnut kind of guy, you know, but I love Colombian coffee by Green Mountain. So that is cool. So now, the Arrow has a smaller cup. Oh, we were talking about the Arrow. Yes, the Arrow does have a smaller cup. That's true. But I have a pretty big coffee cup here, so that's good. Now, let's get my glove, and let's continue with adjacent. Oh, the Aldi sugar cookie one. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like Aldi's creamers. They're very good. And we are just moving in and out there. I do love creamer. I mean, that's like, you know, I'm a real health food kind of guy, you know, trying to eat plant-based. I do have my occasional meat and stuff like that, chicken and, you know, not beef, but chicken and fish, but I try to be plant-based. But when it comes to my creamer, there's no way, guys, I can't do without that, you know? Bradley says he likes his coffee black. And then Wendy says, like your soul, Bradley. Oh my God, Wendy, that you're out of control. That's really funny. And I know Bradley does not have a black soul, so, you know. There is a coffee out there called Dark Magic, which is by Green Mountain, which is pretty cool, you know. Okay, these live streams are so interesting, guys. I'll tell you, you know, it's, you know, I really love them. I really love hanging out with you guys. You guys are making me laugh. Come on. Guys, if you're watching this, you know, you got to read the comments because they're really hilarious here. This is like the funniest live stream ever. Bradley goes, how did you know? See, that's so cool. Oh, you guys. And, you know, just we're continuing moving around, and this is the end of the painting, so to speak. Let's see if I can darken. That's a little bit better, right? There we go. So the adjacent values right here. So Brad says, between coffee and chocolate cake, he's beginning to wonder if you all are a bunch of caffeine freaks. Hey, I'm a caffeine freak. I'm telling you that right here. I just, you know, ever since I was probably, I didn't really have coffee until I was around 18. And then that was it, you know. My dad loved coffee. That was his favorite. He loved coffee. Oh my God. Gloria loves coffee, that's for sure. And her creamer. Right, Gloria? That's definite. So Bradley's also the hazelnut. Yes. I'm hooked on hazelnut. Me too. You guys are really cracking me up tonight. What's life without laughter, honestly? That's why I really want these live streams to just be light and airy, you know, talk about anything, you know, look at some art and just have fun, you know? honestly. There was times and I was like, well, that's, you know, as long as we're, you know, it's all in good humor and, you know, it's all good. Just a relaxed atmosphere. I keep doing that, you know, with this edge here, and I like it, but every time I put it down, it just seems a little too strong. Yes, life sucks without laughter. So true. So very true. Oh no, that's no good. No good, Wendy. Not worth giving you a headache. So, how many of you guys out there have the Fonz Porter and tell me what you think of it? I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Sliced bread's pretty good. The Fonz Porter, what do you guys think about it? Do you have it? And do you use it? And do you recommend it? So, that's something I want to hear from you guys. Wendy has a Fonz Porter. Very cool. So it's wonderful in sewing dresses. Wow. So that's true. That's what it's for, right? It definitely is for that. Originally made for that. Um, so Willie says he has it. He likes it. Brad has it, and it's great. He thinks everyone who's planning on doing fine detail should have one. Very good. Very good advice there. So that's great. And that's it. You know, I want it to be, you know, what, you know, not only what I say, but, you know, you guys tried it. What do you think? That sort of thing. Yes, Willie says it has its place. True. Yes, very true. You don't want to do it too much. Bradley says he's going to get one for the piece he's working on now. That is great. It's really going to bring home some of that detail you really can't get easily elsewhere. And if you're doing even graphite, you know, to get that real tight detail is just really beautiful. So definitely that's good stuff, you know. Okay, so moving around, and I want to move around over here. Now, what's interesting about kneaded erasers, they have a shelf life, meaning that when you use them, they get sticky. Once they get sticky, they gotta go. So after this session, this one's going. They come in like little squares like this. I don't recommend you using a whole square. I don't recommend you having this big chunk of, you know, kneaded eraser that's really difficult to manipulate. What I want you to have is something in a manageable size that you just tear apart. Something like that. See, this one's garbage. See, they last, you know, if you're working every day, they're going to last you probably about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If you are sporadic, they could last you up to a couple of months. But once you feel that stickiness, you just feel it, and you know it's time for it to go. And that's where we are here with that. Because what happens, it starts sticking to your hand, and it's just not as good. Okay, so we were at the ear here. Hey, that rhymes. Okay, didn't mean to do that. And just a little bit lighter towards the bottom there. Now, with the 1 second rule, when you pay attention to little things like that, it really goes a long way to the strength of the painting. The little supporting actors and actresses, right? That's what's really going to make your work sing. There's going to be times when you're looking at a painting, something you've been working at for, you know, in this case, 7 weeks, right? Total of 14 hours. And you're going to see things that are off. and you're going to have to make the decision. Like right here, you see the shape of the ear here is a little bit thinner in mine than over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and just cut my losses and say, you know what, I'm going to leave it like that. Do better next time, but sometimes you miss. But you have to cut your losses, and if it doesn't hurt the painting as a whole, you can leave it there. Now, if it hurts the painting as a whole, then try and fix it. But little things like that, you can definitely, definitely get away with it. Using my freehand shield, perpendicular and not parallel. And you see, I'm just going to get that beautiful edge, because edges are everything. Remember, it's darker on the bottom, so we can adhere to that. There we go. Just paying attention to the little things that are going to go. Hey Todd, good to see you. How's it going? Do they last longer if you put it back in the case? I would say they could last longer, but I think what kills them is just the use, and also our skin and the oils. That pretty much kills it. That's what I'm thinking. But I think if you put them back in the case, it definitely could make it, theoretically, I think it would. But I don't know definitively yet. They do get fill of graphite and stuff like that. Small Ziploc bag, John says. That's fantastic. That's a great, great idea. So next week, guys, we're going to start a new project, a new painting. That always gets the most attention. Part 1 seems to be like everyone loves part 1. And it's great because you can see how to start a painting. Part 1 and the last part are really great because how do you start and finish a painting? Those are fantastic. Now when I'm doing texture, I'm sort of pumping the trigger. Now, to get to vote on what, Gloria? What are you guys voting on? Sometimes I lose what you guys are saying. I figured I would pop in since I wasn't in really last week. Oh man, it would have been good last week. We had Ken from Badger, Todd, but you can see it. It's recorded, which is very cool nonetheless. Okay, so moving around, that's what we're doing. And so we worked on the hair a little bit. We came down over here. Let's go ahead and put in some eyebrows, eyelashes. And, okay, see we have little, you see how it looks like specular, but when you zoom out it looks fine. That's when you don't want to always, guys, be exactly like the photograph. You want to do some cool things. One of the things I always really stress is make sure when you're doing eyelashes, eyebrows, you try and vary the distances. Try and make them as organic as possible. When you see things looking exactly the same distance, make sure that you're doing the 1 second rule. Sometimes when you see it equidistant, you want to go ahead and change it up, because otherwise it's just not going to look natural. In the natural world, things are not equidistant and in a nice row. Now I'm going to take my mono eraser and I want to get the under part of her eyelid there. 1 second rule is crucial here. Crucial, crucial. Then over here, just those little details, and the eyelashes here are really not that dark, but they're there. So now we're working on the lower eyelashes. So eat your heart out, Iwata. Look what I can do with this $89 airbrush. Look what you can do with this $89 airbrush. And of course, Iwata is a friend of the channel, so, you know, they take care of me, because I definitely, you know, very happy to talk about Badger and their wonderful products. Let's go over to the other eye. Remember what we do, break your heart out, Iwata. Break out. And so here we're going to work on this part. No, Iwata is definitely not a friend of the channel. Badger is. If I said that, that's weird. I'm dyslexic. It's not dyslexic. ADD. So, thanks for correcting me. Yes, I am. The friend of the channel is definitely Badger. I am Badger all the way. Why? Because the product is inexpensive. They care about the artist. It's just amazing. And find out for yourself. Give them a try. I did. How about that? Yes, definitely meant Badger. My friends at Badger. So, you know, and what I was originally saying is that you can definitely get the same detail that the very much more pricey Iwatas for this just wonderful airbrush that I discovered, which is the Extreme Patriot Arrow. So I can't talk about it enough. Everyone who has taken my advice and gotten the Extreme Patriot Arrow have put down their Iwatas. Every one of them. And that's pretty cool. Wow, Brad says being a new airbrush artist, he was able to do detail quickly. And that's fantastic. And yes, sniffing ink. But the good thing is this ink is completely non-toxic, which is made by Speedball. Super Black India ink. See that stuff right there? Another friend of the channel. Look how great that is. That's how I make my ink mixtures. So Airbrush India ink mixtures. So yeah, a lot of friends of the channel, and just, you know, really happy to talk about great products and share that with you guys, and you guys share great products with me as well. Nope, it's not. And you can go onto their website and look at their, what is that called? There's a certain, like, product. Yes, the AP, which is, you know, this thing right there. Where is it? Right there. Let me see if I can zoom in. And you can see that it's definitely like non-toxic. The ACMI. And if you go on to Speedball, you'll see just how non-toxic the Super Black India ink is. So if you're going to airbrush, that is definitely the stuff to airbrush. Well, if you don't, you definitely could stay here. You know, like I said, I think Iwata is a great company. I'm not bad mouthing them. I'm just saying that Todd, that you know, badgers are really fantastic. And you own Todd. You own some badgers, don't you? I know you have the side feed, right? You have the Eclipse side feed. That I know. Interesting. I kind of lost. It got too dark on this side of the... I do have one Iwata left. I did sell most of my Iwatas. The one I have left is the High Performance C. I just have to put it back together. I use it for parts, so I still have one. I'm going to put it back together. You might get the 155. Oh, cool. Very cool. Yes, I do love that side feed, Wendy. I know Wendy has a side feed acrylics, side feed Eclipse. And that's just fantastic. See, now I can go in there a little bit. So I can't believe that this painting's almost done, guys. We did it. Now, edges are so important, right? So in this end game here, we're going to worry about edges. So I'm looking at this eye here, and you see how the edge sort of bleeds in. Now, as you can see, as I painted it, I wanted to delineate that. I wanted to see it. Oh, Gloria, have a good night. It's great to see you, and I will see you next week. So cool. And Brad says he has 2 Toyotas and a Dodge truck, and he drives them all. Very cool. And so we were working on the edge here. So you see how this sort of like disappears. We want to definitely do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to just soften that up, because we don't want to put edges where we think they are edges just because we want to delineate. You know, our subconscious is, oh, you have to see the rest of that eye, right? That's what our subconscious is saying. But what we want to do is we want to rise above that and be more analytical in what we are seeing, and the 1 second rule really helps us to do that, right? So that's really fantastic. No, you don't suck there, Todd, so don't say that. You're doing great. We're all at different stages and different, we're on the same path, but at different stages. It's like when I go to the gym, right? I see people who are really buff and they just look fantastic. There are people who, you know, are in shape, they're almost buff. There are people like me who are sort of middle of the road. And then there are people who are just starting. So, you know, it's cool. No one's really judging anybody, and we all are just helping each other. So, you know, there's no suck involved, you know. You're just at that level, and I think you're at a good level, and I think you're learning, Todd. So, and that's what I want you to take from my live streams, is that we're here to encourage you and to be better. better your best, right? That's all we want to do, Todd. Better your best, not better Drew Blair's breast. Drew Blair's best, or better. I'm really doing some really funny bloopers today. Or, you know, other artists. You don't want to do my best. You don't want to do Leonardo da Vinci's best. You want to do Todd's best. And that's what it is. And Wendy, you don't suck. That's not true at all. And doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get there, just that you're on that path and you are getting better. That's all that matters. Just that you're getting better. That's it. I picked up I started doing digital painting, guys. So you guys out there, you know that I started with Krita and using the Huion digital tablet, and I started from scratch. And in the beginning, it was scary. I was terrible, but you know what? I kept at it, and now I'm doing things that I'm proud of. You know. And true, you have to put the time in, Tone, definitely. Wendy says, Tim is awesome on Krita. I'll tell you, Wendy, it's a hard road, and I'm getting better, and I really appreciate your encouragement on it. I'm coming up with a way to do it where anyone can pick it up. You don't have to read the manual, and I'm going to do a video on that, or maybe just a channel on Krita. And doing portraits, just like we do here, guys. The same thing. So let's zoom out, and you'll see that those eyes just start to really, I don't know, they sort of really look nice. And so you see we did a little bit of detail here and there. Right here, I think we could delineate this just a little bit more. There we go. Now a little bit lighter over here. Do a video in live feed like we do it together. That would be interesting. Def Steve, how's it going? How are you? We are doing highlights all over the place here and there, Steve, so you're just in time for some of the final highlights, Steve, which is cool. And so I'm so glad to see you, Steve. It's always a pleasure. Steve is doing some incredible pet portraits. Am I right, Steve? Really great. Now I know Brad Smith is actually embarking on a pet portrait, so that's really cool. I actually told Brad about your portraits. I don't know if Brad reached out to you, Brad Smith, but yeah, definitely I told him to look at your work. Yes, those final highlights, you know. And so I'm glad that Brad reached out to you, and I always, you know, you and Bill Kennedy do some amazing pet portraits. I tip my hat to you guys. We're specialists, right? And I'm not a specialist in that area, so I know when I'm licked, you know, and that's pet portraits licked. Isn't that funny? That's hilarious. And that's cool. So all are welcome. So you see, everyone is so gracious. You know, not everyone, but good people are so gracious and so eager to help. You know, doing that. I saw some really great pictures of you, Todd. So you know, you're doing well. So please don't be too hard on yourself. Enough people out there can be hard on us. We don't got to do it ourselves, right, guys? Okay, so let's go ahead and dark accent time. Should be like dark accent music, you know, maybe thank you, my friend. That's funny. Oh, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that, my friend. And thank you, Willie. I'm on a roll, so that's pretty cool. So we need, like, we have our dark mixture. We're going to set it up with our second Extreme Patriot Arrow. Look how beautiful this thing is. It's just, I don't know. I just love these brushes so much. I just can't tell you. This makes my life easier and more fun. Well, the art part of my life, you know. So, you know, maybe Brad says like a drum roll. How about like when Darth Vader, you know, that music would be good when I use the dark mixture, you know, dun 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 dun, you know, something like that. So let's see if we can get that going. I'm going to look for that. So we're putting in our dark mixture. Not much because, you know, we don't really need it because dark mixture is just for the dark accents at the very end at this stage. That's what I saw here. Okay. Now what you want to do before you go in with that dark mixture, you want to make sure that the airbrush, remember, if you're cleaning your airbrush like you should, your airbrush should work 99.99% of the time. There, the hair is stuck to my finger. I thought it was stuck to the airbrush. So that's funny. So I'm really happy with the way the dark mixture is looking. So now here we go. And let's go ahead and just do some dark accents. Remember, the whites are going to look white next to the dark, right? Simultaneous contrast. So we're going to really do the 1 second rule. And we're going to find those darks, really pull them together. This is the dark mixture, correct, definitely. So I fired up the second airbrush here, so I have the light mixture in the other one. And so now I'm just going for my darkest darks. And what it does, it really gives volume, you know. Oh, how cool. So Steve said, Brad, good job on that portrait. You did great. That's terrific, he said. That's cool. Yes, he worked so hard on that, Steve. And he just did a great job. I appreciate that. Really want those eyes to pop. Thanks, that's cool. Yeah, he did great. Now, when Wendy feels better, we have to finish our Cary Grant that we've been working on. Okay, so we can use a dark mixture just here and there in the eyebrow here. Not too much. Here and there to give some nice variation. But we want to keep it organic, right? That's so important. Brad said I cracked the whip. And Todd said he's failing his mentor. Now, who's your mentor, Todd? And I don't think you're failing at all. Oh, colored pencil. No, definitely we want to stay with that recipe. We're doing really well. So when we come back to that, Wendy, we're gonna definitely bring it home. Look at that, we're 11:22. How scary is that? This has been one of the fastest live streams. Remember, all the products are in the description field below. You can get the airbrush for 10% off using my code TimothyPSA. You can also order my ink mixtures, which are really fantastic and what I use for all of my live streams. And that's really cool. Wendy's been having some headaches and things that are keeping her from airbrushing, and so we definitely, you know, am looking for her to make a speedy recovery because I have fun painting with her. Oh yeah, but no, that's something we can definitely fix that, Wendy. No problem. So when we come back, we're definitely going to address those issues. That's a great thing about my classes. It's on your schedule. It's not like a time limit where you have a 1 week window where, regardless of how you feel, uh, you know, that is, you know, you have to take it. So that's a good thing. You know, it's about people. We paint people. It's about people. Sort of a people thing. Okay, so now we have this. We Oh yeah, so she hurt her shoulder as well. So that's, yeah, that's a second thing. People painting. That's it. So, you know, a lot of us are into portrait painting. You guys, people watch when you're like in a city or like at a cafe. Do you do that and just watch people and just, you know, observe them? You guys do that? I do that and I get ideas for paintings. I'm going to bring that dark of the hair all the way up. Yeah, so, you know, she's coming together. It really is. Ah, Tone, that is so cool. So, Tone is a very excellent painter. He's a great artist, so that's a wonderful mentor to have, that's for sure. I do love the Kobe Bryant that Tone is doing. Out of this world. Oh, wow, you had a blizzard today? That's rough. Back to my coffee. Let me go get some. Oh my God, Steve said he lost a good friend tonight about an hour ago. Steve, my condolences. I'm so sorry. That's really sad. And, you know, really sorry for your loss. Compressor boom? You mean like, what exactly is that, Steve? Like compressor, like air compressor? Forgive me for my ignorance. I'm not sure what that means though, Steve. But yeah, I'm really sorry. Using the freehand shield, remember, perpendicular and not parallel. Wow, an air compressor. Yes. That's why we have to make sure that we always drain the compressor, because what happens is that water gets in there and rusts, and you have to drain it out, otherwise it could rust out over the years and just explode. Was it a gentleman in the airbrush industry? Do we know him? Wow. So he was an airbrush artist for 6 years? Yes, you do want to drain it. What I do is I get all the air out and make sure you turn it off. I get all the air out, make sure all the air is out and it's turned off, and I even unplug it, and then I just open the valve on the bottom and it drains out. That's if you have a tank. I don't think you have a tank on yours, Wendy. But that's something that everyone who uses a compressor really needs to know. Are you saying the compressor died? Oh, okay. Here I am, like really hard. I'm sad, yes, but oh my God. Now I've heard of compressors really, injuring and killing people. That's what I thought happened. So that's good. So it's just a compressor that died. No one died, guys. It's just a compressor. So that's a good day. So I go through a compressor maybe once every 3 or 4 years. About an hour ago. Do you have a backup, Steve? Hope you have a backup. I do recommend California Air Tools. They're the best. Wendy, it wasn't a guy. It was just the compressor, thank God, right? So that's good. See, you had Wendy scared. I was scared. That's funny. So guys, we did really well, and oh, no problem, Steve. This was a funny live stream. It started out with some technical difficulties, and then Wendy was talking about someone's dark heart and black heart, and that was hilarious. And then we have the compressor guy, who fictional character died from a compressor, which turned out to be the compressor. So this was a great live stream, I'll tell you. It was funny as anything. Brad says, looking amazing. I'm going to say goodnight. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much. We are going to consider this beautiful young lady finished. Thank you, Michael David Adams, for helping. And a coffee. Thank you for Green Mountain, Columbia Select. And we have Badger and Speedball and Canson. You guys are all great. You guys are great. Have a great week, guys. And the highlights were worth it. Thank you, sir. So cool. Good night, everybody.